So you want to know the complete story of Tony Stark, the man who became Iron Man. Let's dive into his incredible journey from a self-absorbed billionaire to a true hero, covering all 3 Iron Man films. It all starts with Tony Stark, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. He's the head of Stark Industries, the world's leading weapons manufacturer. On a trip to Afghanistan to demonstrate his new Jericho missile, his convoy is ambushed. Shrapnel is sent flying into his chest, and he's captured by a terrorist group. He wakes up in a cave with a car battery hooked up to his chest, keeping the shrapnel from reaching his heart. His fellow captive, a brilliant scientist named Yinsen, explains the situation. The terrorists want Tony to build them a Jericho missile, but Tony has a better idea. Instead of a weapon of destruction, they secretly build a miniature arc reactor to power his heart and a crude suit of armor to escape. This is the Mark I. It's bulky, it's raw, but it's powerful. During their escape, Yinsen sacrifices himself, telling Tony with his dying breath not to waste his life. Tony, now powered by the very technology he created, blasts his way out of the cave and is eventually rescued. The experience changes him forever. A man who had everything lost it all in a cave, only to build the machine that would remake his destiny. Back in the US, Tony is a new man. Haunted by what he saw, he holds a press conference and drops a bombshell. Stark Industries will no longer manufacture weapons. This shocks everyone, especially his father's old partner, Obadiah Stane. Tony, now with a new perspective, refines his arc reactor and builds a sleek, powerful new suit, the Mark II. He's not just building tech anymore. He's building a new identity. After a few test flights and some hilarious trial and error, he creates the iconic red and gold Mark III. His first mission as a hero comes when he sees his own company's weapons being used to terrorize civilians in the same region where he was held captive. He flies in as Iron Man and dismantles the operation, destroying his own products. He realizes he can't just stop making weapons. He has to personally clean up the mess he created. This is the moment Tony Stark truly chooses to become something better, even if it means destroying the empire his family built. He's no longer just protecting his own life. He's taking responsibility for the lives his inventions have impacted. But the danger isn't just overseas. A threat is brewing right inside his own company. Obadiah Stane, furious with Tony's decision to shut down the weapons division, has been secretly dealing arms to the terrorists. He even orchestrated the attack on Tony. Stane recovers the remains of the Mark I suit from the desert and, with his team, begins reverse engineering it. He wants the power of the arc reactor for himself. Stane confronts Tony at his home, paralyzes him, and rips the arc reactor right out of his chest, leaving him to die. It's a brutal betrayal from the man who was like an uncle to him, but Tony, ever the forward thinker, had a spare. With the help of his loyal assistant Pepper Potts, he gets his old reactor back in and suits up. The climax is a massive showdown between Iron Man and Stane's own monstrous suit, the Ironmonger. It's a battle of stolen tech versus true innovation, greed versus responsibility. Tony, with Pepper's help, overloads the main arc reactor at Stark Industries, defeating Stane. The next day, against all advice, Tony stands before the world's media and declares, "I am Iron Man." Fast forward 6 months. The world knows Tony Stark is Iron Man, and he's loving the fame. He's privatized world peace. But his past is coming back to haunt him in a new way. In Russia, A man named Ivan Vanko is building his own arc reactor-powered weapons, a pair of electrified whips. Ivan is the son of Anton Vanko, Howard Stark's old partner who was disgraced and deported. Ivan blames the Stark family for his father's ruin and is coming for revenge. This is Whiplash. He ambushes Tony during the Monaco Historic Grand Prix, slicing his race car in half. It's a public, personal attack that shows Tony he's not invincible. This forces Tony to confront the dark legacy his father left behind. It turns out Howard Stark wasn't just a weapons dealer. He was a visionary with secrets of his own. At the same time, Tony is facing an even more personal enemy, himself. The palladium core in his arc reactor, the very thing keeping him alive, is slowly poisoning his blood. He's dying, and he doesn't have a cure. This pressure, combined with the government demanding he turn over the Iron Man suit, sends him spiraling. He becomes reckless, throwing a wild party in the Iron Man suit and fighting his best friend, James Rhodes. Fame, poison, and fear are pushing him to the edge of self-destruction. Even a hero can break. Rhodey, fed up, takes one of Tony's suits, the Mark II, and hands it over to the military, where it's weaponized by Tony's rival, Justin Hammer, who is secretly working with Vanko. It seems like Tony is losing on all fronts, but a message from his late father, hidden in old film reels, provides the key. Howard had discovered a new element, but lacked the technology to create it. Tony, using his own genius, synthesizes this new, clean element, curing his poisoning and creating a new, more powerful arc reactor with a cool, triangular shape. Reborn and re-energized, Tony teams up with Rhodey, now in the War Machine armor, for an epic final battle against Vanko and Hammer's drone army. It's a spectacular display of teamwork and redemption. They defeat Vanko, who self-destructs in a last-ditch effort. Tony has not only overcome an external threat, but also his own inner demons. He's learned to rely on others and has accepted his father's complicated legacy. After the events of the Avengers, Tony is not doing well. He's suffering from severe anxiety and PTSD after flying through a wormhole and nearly dying. He can't sleep. He's obsessively building dozens of new Iron Man suits, creating an entire Iron Legion. He's trying to control everything because he feels powerless against the cosmic threats he now knows exist. A new villain emerges, the Mandarin, a mysterious and terrifying terrorist leader who launches a series of attacks across the globe. He speaks in cryptic video messages and seems to be everywhere and nowhere at once. When one of his attacks injures Happy Hogan, Tony's head of security and close friend, Tony publicly threatens the Mandarin, even giving out his home address. It's a bold, reckless move, driven by anger and fear. The Mandarin responds by completely destroying Tony's Malibu mansion with helicopter gunships. Tony barely escapes, saved by one of his new, experimental suits. He's presumed dead, left with no resources, a broken suit, and his own wits in rural Tennessee. This is where the real journey of Iron Man 3 begins. Tony has to become a detective, tracing the source of the Mandarin's attacks. He learns they are connected to a volatile supersoldier serum called Extremis, created by a scientist named Maya Hansen and backed by the brilliant but sinister Aldrich Killian. The big twist comes when Tony finds the Mandarin's supposed headquarters. He discovers the fearsome terrorist is just an actor, a man named Trevor Slattery, hired by Killian to be the face of his operation. The real enemy has been hiding in plain sight. Killian, a scientist Tony arrogantly dismissed years ago, is the true mastermind. He's been using extremists to create explosive soldiers and covering it up with the Mandarin persona. Killian kidnaps the president and captures Pepper Potts, injecting her with extremists to force Tony to help him stabilize the formula. This leads to the final explosive confrontation on an oil tanker. Tony, with no single suit, calls in his entire Iron Legion, the House Party Protocol, remotely controlling dozens of suits in a massive battle against Killian's extremist soldiers. It's chaos, but it's brilliant. In the end, it's not the armor that saves the day. Tony realizes the suits have become a crutch, a cocoon he was hiding in. He learns that Iron Man isn't the suit, it's the man inside. The man willing to give up everything to protect the one he loves. In a climactic moment, it's Pepper, empowered by extremists, who ultimately defeats Killian. Tony then makes a monumental decision. He orders his AI Jarvis to destroy all of his Iron Man suits as a gesture of his love for Pepper. Finally, he undergoes surgery to have the shrapnel removed from his chest, letting go of the arc reactor for good. He doesn't need it anymore. He proves, once and for all, that Tony Stark is, and always will be, Iron Man. And that's the full journey of Tony Stark through his first 3 films. From a selfish merchant of death to a true, self-sacrificing hero. Hope you enjoyed this recap. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.